Item 10D is our last item. Adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 3 automated water tank residual control system units and 2 water tank mixers from PAX Water Technologies in the total amount of, excuse me, $181,000. I'll get through this.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. I'm here tonight to present information related to the resolution before you, which seeks approval for the purchase of 3 automated water tank residual control system units and 2 mini tank mixers from PAX Water Technology. These units were recently adopted by council as part of the enhancements included in the Water Division 15-16 operating budget. As you well know, the primary mission of the Water Division is to deliver reliable, high-quality water to our citizens, and our staff does a good job of doing that every day. Tonight I'm filling in actually for Mark Reinhardt, who has put a lot of work into this effort for these PAX mixers, and I wanted to recognize him for that. In order for us to maintain high water quality, the Water Division has a goal of maintaining a chlorine residual of 2.4 parts per million in our distribution system, which matches the San Francisco Public Utility Commission level of water that we get from them as well. While a very small amount, the chlorine residual is the amount of chlorine left over after all the disease-causing organisms are absent from our drinking water, so it's very important. These RCS units we're seeking approval for tonight will allow our staff to better adjust to the changing water quality conditions, and these units will continually test, and when necessary, the units will automatically inject chlorine when the levels in our tanks fall below the chlorine residual target of 2.4 parts per million. In particular, we have a sort of a unique challenge. We've got some remote tanks. One's at Sweeney Ridge, which sits on the one you can see up on top of the hill, and there's 2 other tanks 9 and 10 up at near Skyline College, and they're both quite a ways away from the end user, and weather affects them, and also the age of the water in those tanks impacts our water quality. So those are the primary tanks that we're talking about. These systems have already been included in the Tank 3 Skyline project, which is currently under construction, as you know, but we also have several storage tanks that I just mentioned that are not scheduled for major upgrades in the near future. That's why we're here before you tonight. We've had, as I said, some challenges. There's some seasonal impacts due to our Indian summer. The Sweeney tank in particular will heat up and it changes the chemistry in the water and so forth. We also are impacted by the water we get from SFPUC. It changes with some environmental changes as well. So we need to keep all that into consideration. In 2013, the Water Division started a beta test with PAX Technology RCS unit up at the Sweeney Ridge tank. At the start of the beta test, the chlorine residual was about 1.5 parts per million, but within a couple of days after the units were installed, we met our 2.4 parts per million target. And after the installation, the test unit at Sweeney Ridge has been working very well. We've consistently met our stable chlorine residual, and as a result, our staff can maximize the storage capacity at all times, which allows for better fire protection. We can keep that tank full. We also don't waste any water. In the past, we've had to dump water out of that tank as the water went bad, if you will. So these units have allowed us to keep that tank full and keep the water right where it should be. Council approval tonight would authorize the purchase of 2 RCS units for the college tanks 9 and 10, and 1 for the San Bruno Avenue at tank 4. In addition to the RCS units, we're also seeking approval for the purchase of 2 mini mixers for the storage or clear wells at the courtyard. And those of you who've been at our Public Works Day, I've seen those are the big kind of swimming pools that are inside. They're called a clear well, but that's our storage at the courtyard. The mixers at that location will help keep the water in the clear well mixed so that it doesn't separate top to bottom, and we can keep the water quality consistent throughout the water column. And as I mentioned earlier, these units were included in the Water Division 15-16 operating budget. At that time, we were allocated $214,000 At that time, we also thought that the units were going to be around $70,000 a piece. After working with the company and sizing the mixers in particular, we were able to save some money, and we actually added a second RCS unit at the college tank. So both tanks will have an RCS unit, and we were still able to get within underneath that 214 budgeted amount. Staff recommends tonight the council adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase 3 automated water tank residual control system units and 2 water tank mixers from PAX Water Technologies in the amount of $181,000, and I'm available for any questions you might have.
Michael?
Just one quick request. If it would have been nice to see on this if there are any ongoing maintenance costs and a description of the lifespan of the device so that we can kind of get an idea of how often we'll be replacing these going forward. Because I imagine once we put them in, we'll want to keep them in.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Irene?
Well, I just want to commend staff for doing their due diligence and pulling all this together and saving over $30,000 and more, because you're not going to be dumping water and you're not going to have staff running up and down, and you're going to have a better control of the water quality that people enjoy. So with that, I would like to introduce the resolution.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Councilmember Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Salazar.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.